your glory, if this is your presence, then let it rain.
Time with Rita Eluwade is a program where only the controversial, forbidden and not to be spoken about in our marriages, families, churches, schools and communities are dissected and deliberated upon. Every second and fourth Tuesdays of the month at 7:15 p.m. to 7:45 p.m. UK time. On PRZ 109.2 FM London. Rita Eluwade is a Christian, wife and a mother of two. She is an author, motivational speaker, a mentor, sexual health advisor and a strong advocate for the rehabilitation of victims of human trafficking. She has a master's degree in refugee studies and community development. She believes that sharing true knowledge in the things we do, and showing the compassionate love of God is the way forward in our global world. So join her every second and fourth Tuesdays of the month at 7:15 p.m. to 7:45 p.m. UK time. On PRZ 109.2 FM London, where she re-educate and re-empower God's people.
Hey, 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 hey. Welcome everybody to this awesome radio program Time with Rita Eluwade, which has on PRZ 109.2 FM London. How are you today? I hope you are doing well. Yes, I'm doing okay. Yes, I'm doing very well. Thank God. Yes, it is an awesome evening. It is an awesome afternoon. Wherever you are in the world, it's an awesome day. If it's in the morning, if it's in the afternoon, night, wherever you are, it is an awesome day. So I want to thank God for a time like this that we can be on this platform to educate, to inspire, and to motivate whoever is listening tonight. Before I continue, I want to give a big shout out to the newest couples in town. Midi and Bella, happy marriage life. We're wishing you all the best and have a blessed honeymoon, and we'll see you when you come back. Yes, yes, yes. So before I continue tonight, I just want to say thank you for tuning in to Time with Rita Eluwade. It is a great privilege to be able to stand or speak on this platform, just to share and, be a convener of those questions, those things nobody wants to talk about. With me on this platform tonight, with me on this set tonight, is an amazing, amazing woman that is, that I've come to, admire and respect. She's a blogger. And she's a mom, she's a wife, she's a professional, and she is as real and super lit as they can be. Abby, stop laughing. That's the truth. Yes. So it is Mrs. Abby Opali with me in the studio tonight. Like I said, she's a blogger. She's all the things I've said. I just want her to say hello to you all out there today.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for having me.
You. Can you speak louder? We want to hear your beautiful voice.
So sorry. Hello, everybody.
Yes.
Nice to be here.
Yes. It's so nice to have you on this set tonight because
Thank you.
Honestly, I was just having a conversation with my research director some weeks back. We thought about bringing people on set, bringing people to this platform that would truly inspire, motivate, and be a blessing, not just anybody. So tonight, I'm so happy that you are able to be a part of what we do at Time with Rita Eluwade. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be here.
Okay. You blog, you write. How long have you been doing this?
Writing, I've been doing for a long time. I mean, if we're going to say as a pastime, since I was probably 12.
Wow.
But I started the idea of blogging maybe about 2 years ago. When I started, it was going okay, but then I became pregnant. I had my first child, then I was going to continue, then I became pregnant again. So I had the second child. So after now my kid is one, I thought to myself, okay, I can do this now. And I had a push. I was motivated to go ahead and do it. So I just restarted again, and my first repost or my first new post was actually this thing called marriage.
Yes, I was just gonna say, let's get to that. Let's get to that.
So,
yes, Abby, I read. The truth is this. During the time I was researching for this program, I was looking around for what we'll talk about, because we don't just talk about marriage on this show. We talk about everything. It's a show that is a program that goes into community, families, things, controversial issues.
Right.
So when I saw this, I just thought that this would be a great piece when I read it for us to talk about and get you here to, talk about this thing called marriage. What inspired you? Well, what were you thinking? How did this whole thing start?
I mean, probably two things. First thing is the fact that obviously I am newly married.
Yes.
4 years in October, and so obviously there's the making the transition from singlehood to married life. So there was a change there, and I had to obviously appreciate it. And then I was watching a TV series by a lady, a Nigerian filmmaker, Blessing Egbe, and it was actually called this thing called Marriage.
Really?
Yeah, she did the first season about maybe a year or two ago, and then the second season. So I had at the back of my head, I've had this idea of, marriage is different to being single. It's been there, but I never really wrote about it. So by the time I went on to watch the second season, I'm like this, and I've heard stories of different marriages and what people are going through. I'm thinking this lady really captured people's experiences.
Wow.
So I think that motivated me to say, you know what, I want to write how I feel or my response to what I'm watching, what I've heard.
Yeah.
And I just got out my phone while I was watching, and I started to type. Yeah.
Okay. I read it, and I was impressed. And I think one of the reasons why I was very impressed was the accuracy.
Okay.
The accuracy, and you weren't afraid to dive into the parts where the issues that are associated with marriage. I'll read this. He said, majority are lost in this misconception that marriage is a bed of roses.
Yeah.
Then you went on to say they have become like a ship sunk at sea, badly stricken by the storm of life. So how would you say, how would you take us, how would you explain that to us? Because for some of us coming from the cultural background where we're from, we're not supposed to describe marriage in this form. Or even if we do see marriage as this, we're not supposed to express it, or we're not supposed to say it. So you writing, blogging about this, talking about this, you got me. So what would you say that?
Okay, first of all, I think the kind of person I am is I kind of tell it the way I see it or the way I feel.
Amazing.
And and I've had the opportunity of listening to different people talk about their marriages. I've heard stories, and of course I have my own. And and the reality is, or to a degree, a majority of us do think, we think marriage is supposed to be Hollywood, for example. We're exposed to so much media that every ideology we get might be from there, and we're moving away from the reality of what it might be. We don't even learn from the marriages that we see on a day-to-day basis.
Yes.
And what I meant by that is the fact that some of us are deluded a little bit. We have this idea of a fancy world that in reality life is just not like that. It doesn't work like that. So they become like a ship sunk at sea. Basically mean when you have two people people that are really, all moved by Hollywood. They want to do their relationship according to Hollywood. They want to bring all those expectations. They get together. So the male expects this, the woman expects that, and but at the end of the day, when Hollywood is not played out in their home, when the reality of what's really happening, how they deal with life issues, the real issue of what goes on in life that hits you, and you don't know how to deal with it, then before you know it, your marriage is sinking. You're sinking as an individual. That's even on a more emotional level to some people, even mentally sometimes. So that's what I mean by that.
Yeah. I read that, and I read it again, and because I wrote my book on enhancing intimacy in ethnic minority Christian marriages. But the thing that I respect so much is the fact that I like to learn from other writers, bloggers, so I can expand my research. And I found that when I did my research on my book, it was looking at intimacy. But from reading what you've written, I find that there are other parts of marriage that are equally as important, that we must not take our attention away from, or
That's
take
right.
we must focus as well as the intimate aspect of it, because what you've just explained can be the man, can be the woman,
Could be both.
but it could be both, and that's what's up, So and when a marriage is badly stricken, and it's like is by the storm of life, then there is no hope.
Exactly. I mean, from watching, one of the things that happened, if I can remember, from watching the actual TV series, is one of the couples. I think they had, the issue is they just got married, not even 6 months, and the man is already expecting them to have a child.
Wow.
He wants a baby, and it's not happening so fast. He's listening to his friends. They're saying, you should have a baby by now, and
6 months.
6 months, yeah.
Wow.
He's doing all sorts. He's acting like there's something wrong with her. He's basically the typical, sort of African mentality.
Not
so
to stereotype.
Not to stereotype, but the typical-ish, and because it's not happening so fast, what did the man do? Eventually, he decided that he was going to go outside
and have a side chick, or
but the woman he ended up meeting actually was lying to him. He wasn't even the father of the so-called pregnancy
that he
I mean, it's life. It's not happening as quickly as you want. Children are a blessing. They're the fruit of a marriage, but it's not happening. So does that mean all of a sudden that marriage is doomed? Do you know what I mean?
It's not. Absolutely.
Life is happening to you. It's not happening as quickly as you want. Why I don't know how to explain it, but why?
Yeah, I get your point. There's also something else you said when I read. It said this thing called marriage is a union that must be entered into sober-minded, leaving behind every self-delusional expectation. So that kind of sum up what you've just said, because our expectations are different. But then, what is the vision of the marriage? What is expected of both of you? What are your expectations? So he was just carrying on his own that a woman must be pregnant at.
I mean, the woman did try to join in the vision. She went to the hospital. She's making sure she's okay. Practically forced him to go into the hospital to get checked as well. But do you know what I mean? So it's not like she wasn't joining into his vision, but I think it was a little bit irrational and it was just out of control, in terms of his expectation. Talking about sober-minded, what I meant by that is we need to understand that at the end of the day, we do get married. Things are not always going to go the way we want. Where there's no point in thinking life is going to be one way. Even as a single person, life is not one way. Life happens to you. How do you deal with it? There's a way you manage life. There's a way you go about things. And when you're married, in my opinion, I don't think it's any different. It's just that now you have an opportunity to do life with somebody else,
which is expected when you're married.
You do life with somebody else. So at the end of the day, you can't be going with all these ideas that it might not fly in your marriage. So that's why you have to be realistic about your expectations and your goals as an individual and as a couple. In my opinion.
No. I think you're hitting it tonight. For anybody listening, this is Time with Rita Eluwade. We have the amazing and the fabulous Mrs. Abby Opali in the house with me today. Hello. So, do you not think that expectations in the marriage itself are not taught before people get married? People are not sincerely taught about what to expect or what they might expect.
I think sometimes it depends on where you're coming from. Like you're coming from church, they do preach, marriage. You do marriage counseling. You need to know that it's not, a bed of roses, and things like that. But I think we seldom get people that can really realistically sit with you as a single person or someone that is even engaged, planning to get married, to tell you, oh, this is the reality of what a marriage is, because everybody wants to keep the affairs of their marriage
now you're
to
talking
themselves.
Yes,
They want to keep it to themselves. No one wants to expose that, oh, me and my husband may be going through this, or my wife is like this, my husband is like that. So we don't really get,
that's the point.
We don't get that. Our eyes are not opened in that regard.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? We don't get that. So all we get is, it's nice you want to get married. Okay, I'll give you an example. Like in response to my blog, one person sent me a message and it's like, I actually believe marriage should be a bed of roses. I don't see why we have to make people afraid of marriage. And I'm thinking,
you're not making people afraid.
It's not making them afraid. It's preparing them for the reality of what may be. And obviously, every marriage is different. Because it's as different as the people in it. But there's some things you should understand. I'll give an example. My husband. When I met him and I are we're friends. We get along. But the first time when we got married, it was not even up to 2 months, and we had the silliest argument. But it was so silly. It was silly, but in terms of impact, it was huge. That if at that point we didn't have our head screwed on, it's possible that we might just thought, why did I marry him?
That's
why did I marry
right.
her?
Yes.
And it was something it's very
silly.
Very now. I look back now, I'm laughing, but at the time, it's not. We don't fight, but my husband called me, said, "You're so." Yeah, what did he say? You're so.
Something.
In something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're so this. And you're thinking, did we just have that conversation? Like,
can you imagine?
We're both really upset that, one of us had to go for a walk, but it was something very tiny. Like, it's so ridiculous.
And this is the reality of marriage. This is the reality of marriage. When we see people come together, we don't know what's happening behind the closed doors. We see all the doling up, all the litness and the super flick, super dopeness, and we're like, oh, we want to be like them, especially if you're single. But really, what we ought to be doing is that we ought to be sometimes sharing our challenges, so people that are single can actually understand the whole concept of marriage. Because coming to church, holding hands and kissing and it's not all about that. Or saying, saying, it is well. It's not all about that. Or saying, you have a companion you can share with. It's not all about that.
And it will also help that if people know these things, like, you do have challenges. I'm all dressed up does not mean we don't have our differences. So, and then when you hear cases of this person and that person broke up or they're divorced, you're just dumbfounded at the news. You're like, no, it can't be. What happened? You didn't know about it.
No.
And those things can affect people. Especially if it's people you're looking up to.
Yeah.
It can really, blow you away.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I totally agree with that. And also, just to add to it, I was in a conference of recent, and somebody, I sat down, and this lady that is very vast in the Word of God, she's a woman of God, said something that blew me off my socks. And she said, if God didn't say honor your husband, I probably wouldn't, because sometimes I wonder if he loves me because of the things he does. He could pray for the whole nation, but yet he wouldn't fast and pray for me. That was kind of okay. Then she now went a little bit further to say, now I understand when God said, I will give you a suitable helpmate. The helpmate is because he needed help. That's why God said he was going to bring the woman as a helpmate. Oh, that one also kicks me serious. And I was like thinking, so then the woman is helpmate. So what is the man? Okay, so I'm probably going to ask people to come in and explain. So what is the man? Yeah, what's the man? So, but we know
if the woman is the head.
I mean, so what's the man?
That's a good question.
Try.
What's the man? Oh dear. The man is also, I don't know, the head is also, do you know what, can I be honest? This is my honest opinion, you know. I know what the Bible say, but I think both husband and wife, you come together, you're both helping each other out.
Absolutely.
You're both helping each other out. I don't think it will work
one way
or otherwise, you know.
Yeah.
It's a union, yes, and it's like I said, it's like combating life together. You know, I don't know how to explain it. It's like we're fighting the same thing. We're like army of the same. You know, we're defending the same country, so to speak.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? It should be something we do together. There isn't, you do this and I do this, and so what about if I'm not able to do this?
Absolutely.
When I was pregnant, I could not stand the smell of food. I could not stand in the kitchen if my life depended on it.
Yeah.
If my husband was a sort of man that is like, okay, well, you know, cooking is the woman's thing, pregnant or not, just go there. He had to my husband cooked for the whole time I was pregnant.
Bless him.
I couldn't stand the smell. What do you do?
That is what helping, because I read further in your word, you said marriage is for the kind-hearted, marriage is for the compassionate. And so what you've just explained, that you've actually experienced that, because your husband had to be compassionate, had to be kind-hearted. He didn't just see you as a property in his house. He saw you as somebody that is on the same boat with him.
Absolutely.
And now you're carrying our baby. You need help, and it was there to help.
Yep. Absolutely.
And if it's the woman, the man needs help. The woman rises up and becomes the help, and becomes the one that shows the compassionate, love.
Stories of women that their husband lose their jobs, and the women are the one fending for the family for that period.
Yes.
You know, it's not a matter of you're the man, so you've lost your job.
Yes.
Better go and find another one or else. It doesn't work like that. We have to work together because we are in this together.
Absolutely. This thing called marriage, it can be either way. It depends on who you're talking to. From what I've read in your blog, you're saying that there is no gender when it comes to showing love, when it comes to showing kind-heartedness.
Absolutely.
When it comes to being compassionate, there is no gender.
No,
Christ, our Lord, expects the man to care for his wife and his children. Also, he expects you as a woman to care for your husband and your children.
Absolutely.
This is your family unit. But however, this thing called marriage can be very tough for so many people.
It can.
Yeah, so what do you have to say about that?
I mean, what makes marriages tough, apart from, I think what's important, I know I wrote somewhere that, you need to leave your expectations before you even start courtship.
Yes,
and,
yes, I saw that.
And where I'm coming from with that is the fact that you don't try and marry somebody in order to fit them into what you like them to be or what you think they should be. But, you need to look at who the person is and who they are. Do they work or fit with you.
Yeah.
So I think when marriage becomes difficult, I think it depends on the people in the marriage. Who is the person? What's their character like? You know, and sometimes, some people, or we're unfortunate, we marry somebody and people change. You married someone that was nice, then you find out they're not so nice afterwards. What do you do? We have to, depending on what's going on, you have to, we work with them, even wherever it is that they are. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, but it depends on where they are. Because if you continuously be the one that is pushing, it comes to a time where you're tired. Absolutely. Or if you continuously be the one that is being abused, it comes to a time when you're tired. So that's why, I totally agree to what you wrote, that is to be entered into with sober-mindedness. But like you've just said, that again, people change. Because
I think what you were just mentioning, I think there was a part that I wrote about, it's a commitment. There's no escape route if you don't create one.
Yes.
And that if you don't create one, to me, fits with what you're saying. So no one gets married to think, I want to leave you in a few years. You get married thinking, I'm going to be with you for as long is long, as long as I live. But the escape route becomes things like you're mentioning, when you're not pulling your weight, where it's relevant.
That's right.
When you're abusing me, either it's physically or emotionally, you have created an escape route. You're giving, or for some people, the escape route is infidelity.
Yes.
Some people can take it, other people can't. That's when we start talking about escape route. That's when you start thinking, okay, fine. If I'm going to stay here and it's going to end up injuring me, then maybe one has to consider out. Not to say I'm encouraging, know.
No, but they say this is the thing about this program, we have to look at it in total. If we want marriage to be a union for life, but we also don't want somebody dead in the marriage.
Absolutely.
We want people to be in marriage, to be happy, to be able to dialogue, to be able to resolve issues.
Absolutely.
But when you're in a marriage, in an abusive marriage, then the best of you can't be out.
No.
So, these are issues that we also have to discuss in the marriage. It is totally, the narrative of different people has to be taken into consideration. But however, we pray that our marriages will flourish.
Amen.
Our marriages will become, a delight and will bring people to God.
Amen.
I don't have this time is always a problem, a problem on this platform. But before I close tonight, this thing called marriage is work. You said it's work. And from what we've shared, that you must come in, be ready to dig in. There is no bed of roses. You must come in to dig in. The issues that are confronting people in the marriages become our issues. It's no longer your issue. When you come with an issue in the marriage, you're not alone. You know that there is somebody to share it with.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And before we close tonight, Abby, can you just round up, your thoughts about this, and if there is any other thing you want to talk about before we close tonight?
Okay, I mean, if I'm going to say anything, I'll close it with what you said about it being work, and also trying to debunk this idea that, I have to be afraid. Should I be afraid of getting married? You don't need to be afraid of getting married. Yes, it's for the bold, so I said. But, bold means, I'll put it this way. Being single is like sitting on a chair by yourself. You can spread your legs, you can hold it everywhere you like. But when you're married, you're sharing a chair with somebody else.
That's right.
It's just about, when it comes to the working, it's about your willingness to work with somebody else, to compromise, to meet the person halfway, Yeah. So
thank you so much, Abby. Thank you for coming tonight. I would like to just end up with the fact that this thing called marriage can be full of a lot of love, can be full of kindness, patience, companionship, camaraderie, and these are all from Abby's blog, and they are all there on her website. What's your website again?
It's www.abbyscope.com. Opali.com.
Yes, subscribe, go there, subscribe, and you read a lot. She writes a lot of blog, marriage, finances, lifestyle blog. She does, and what actually brought her here today is to see that a young woman in one of the millennials in here sharing, bold enough to share her thoughts from what she's seen around, what she's experienced herself, to share that, perhaps we need to be engaging our single people more. We need to let them know that this is not Hollywood movie, it's not Bollywood movie, and it's not Nollywood movie. Marriage is life, and it's work, and it's real, and there are challenges. The more we do this, I'm quite sure the single people would have an idea of what they're going into. If they had any delusional thoughts or ideas, by the time they are taught what the real challenges and what marriage is about, they would be able to, understand what they're going into. This is not to make anybody afraid. It's not to make anybody draw back from getting into the union. It's making people prepared for what is ahead so they can enjoy the benefits of the marriages. When it is raining, they know how to take shelter. And when it's sunny, they know how to enjoy the sun and, be thankful in any situation in the marriage. So I want to leave you to today, and I hope you've been able to enjoy our program. And I want to say a big thank you again to Abi Opal for coming.
Thank you.
I missed it again. For being my guest on this show, and hopefully we would invite you to come back if
More than happy to come back.
Great. Great. And I hope to see you next time on this platform. Don't forget, marriage is hard work, and for those that work in their marriages, they reap the benefit. And try as much as possible to be patient with your spouse. Remember that kindness and love in the marriage has no gender. The more you understand that love has no gender, the compassionate love of Christ has no gender, God expects us to be one. God expects us to love one another without caring who is the man, who is the woman. Whoever is below, whoever is short has to be supported. If the woman is short, she has to be supported. If the man is short, he has to be supported. The more we learn to support one another, the greater our unions can be. And the thing about it is that we become shining examples that would continuously encourage single people in our community. This is Rita Eluwade. Have a blessed day, and I hope to see you fortnightly from now. Bye.
Families, churches, schools and communities are dissected and deliberated upon every second and fourth Tuesdays of the month at 7:15 p.m. to 7:45 p.m. UK time on PRZ 109.2 FM London. Rita Eluwade is a Christian wife and a mother of two. She is an author, motivational speaker, a mentor, sexual health advisor, and a strong advocate for the rehabilitation of victims of human trafficking. She has a master's degree in refugee studies and community development. She believes that sharing true knowledge in the things we do and showing the compassionate love of God is the way forward in our global world. So join her every second and fourth Tuesdays of the month at 7:15 p.m. to 7:45 p.m. UK time on PRZ 109.2 FM London, where she re-educate and re-empower God's people